Is there a wrong way to breathe? And if there is, what is it? And how do we move ourselves towards the right way to breathe? What up, humans? My name is Casper at Casper's Focus, and I would love to share with you a little inquiry into this question that I get all the time. Not only do I get this question all the time of people asking me, what is the wrong way to breathe? Am I breathing wrong? How should I breathe for the right way? But there's also a lot of people telling me, this is the wrong way to breathe, and that's the wrong way to breathe, but this is the right way to breathe. And these people don't even always agree. There seem to be a lot of people who are very highly convinced that they know about what is the right way to breathe and that they should tell people that that is the right way to breathe. Now, of course, this is a pretty nuanced topic, but there's a lot to it, and I'd love to share with you this little inquiry, a few different ways to think about it, so you can also kind of come up with your own answer. Now, if you ask a general breathing coach about the right or the wrong way of breathing, then usually they come up with a little list, right? They have the right way to breathe, and then they have the wrong way to breathe. And then on this list they say, well, it should be nasal, right? We should breathe through the nose because the nose is a filter, which is amazing. It does all this filtering, and the mouth doesn't do that. The mouth doesn't do filtering, and it doesn't add nitric oxide, and it doesn't air condition it. So, mouth breathing has all these disadvantages in relation to nasal breathing. All right, pretty good. Then, of course, also our breathing should be slow. If we breathe slowly as a base rate, it means that we are very good at taking up oxygen and that we have a good CO2 tolerance where not every change in breath or change in state will make us breathe faster right away, right? And then on the wrong side, of course, that is hyperventilation or chronic hyperventilation. And this is usually how that is kind of portrayed. So slow breathing is good and hyperventilation is wrong. And then we also have, of course, the diaphragmatic breathing, which is usually explained as belly breathing, which I understand. It's a kind of good first way to introduce it to people who've never heard about it, because, of course, as you breathe in, your diaphragm moves down and it flattens out slightly, which needs to and it needs to have some space there to move, which means it moves away the organs in the abdominal cavity, and the belly moves out, which is of course great. But it's not about a in, out, forward, backward type of movement. Actually, proper diaphragmatic breathing is happening all the way in expansion of this abdominal cavity, but also it moves the lower ribs horizontally. So diaphragm breathing, of course, is optimal breathing in most cases because the diaphragm is our main breathing muscle. And then over here we usually say that, or usually it is said that chest and even neck breathing is the wrong way to breathe. That type of breathing where you have all kinds of muscles working that are not breathing muscles. And then people go, well, that's wrong and that's right. And there's a few other things too, but this is usually the three big topic areas that people tend to argue in and with and for and against when they talk about right or wrong breathing. Now, of course, a lot of that is true, right? So in most cases, nasal breathing, slow breathing, diaphragmatic breathing are the preferred ways to breathe because they match the state that you're in. And this is really where I want to make a point where if we think in terms of right and wrong, then we're actually not helping ourselves change the state and improve our breathing to where we want it to be. So in my previous video, I talked about this concept that there is a state of mind and body, so a state of being, and that state of being triggers a state of breath. Right? So if you can read the breath, if you can understand the breath, if you can see how the breath moves, and especially how these factors that I just discussed change and shift, and what are the factors that make these factors change, for example, that make you go from nasal to mouth breathing. If you understand those, then you can understand something about this state that this person is in. But if you would then say that this breath is wrong, right? If we say, oh, you're breathing like this, which means that you're breathing wrong, you're not doing it right, then you're also saying that that state is wrong. And this is really where I want to make the point, my opinion, that there is no wrong way to breathe. There is no wrong way, there's no inherently wrong way to breathe, okay? Because that would be to say that there are wrong states. You could also look at it kind of the other way around, where you say that the breath supports a demand of the body. It's basically the same thing, but if you think about a state demands a certain amount of energy. It demands a certain type of muscular function. It demands a certain type of biochemistry, of neurochemistry, right? So every state that you're in, every situation that you're in life requires something of your biology. So there is a demand in that moment. So if you're just resting and you're relaxed on the sofa and you're chilling and there's nothing really going on in life, there's not a high energy demand, right? But there's still a demand. There's a demand for you to be in a calm parasympathetic state. Then if a troubling text message comes in, or somebody comes in the door and says, oh my God, I need your help, please follow me right now. Then, of course, there's a different demand. You need to change state, you need more energy, you need to activate, you need to be more alert, you need to have more sympathetic tone. So there is a certain demand of you in that moment. And then, of course, the breath is the factor that allows you to produce the energy to supply for that demand. So breath is simply supplying the demand. So if you would say that there is a wrong way to breathe, then you would say that there is such a thing as a wrong state. Now, this type of breathing that we have just marked as wrong, we usually see this in people who are, for example, anxious or stressed. Right? Chronically stressed. So if you are anxious or stressed, then you will start, most people, especially if you're chronically stressed, you will start to have more mouth breathing, you will start to breathe a little bit faster, so you get chronic hyperventilation, and you start to use more and more of your chest and your neck breathing. And that means that this state of anxiety, right, the state of anxiety is leading to the breath of anxiety. Now, if we just look at that breath as a breathing coach or as somebody who's read a book about breathing or whatever, and you go like, you're breathing wrong, you're doing that wrong, then you're actually saying, okay, that means that this state is wrong because the breath is really only filling in the demand that the state puts on your biology. Now, a lot of people suffer from anxiety and a lot of people suffer from stress. Does that mean that stress and anxiety are bad things? Are they wrong? Should they not be there? Well, and there's really the big point here. Every single state that you can experience, every emotion you can experience, everything that you can experience in yourself is there because it has been selected by millions and millions of years of evolution, right? If you are in that scenario sitting on the sofa and you're chilling and you're fine, and somebody walks in and goes, oh my God, there's something wrong, there's a fire, there's an accident, come help, and you don't have stress, right? You don't have this physiological ability to be like, whoa, okay, boom, senses pop open, heart rate goes up, breathing goes faster, cortisol is released, you get all this energy, you get this jolt, this temporary superpowers by your internal doping, this biochemistry that gives you this boost of energy and of awareness, and you're like, all right, let's do this. If you wouldn't have that, right, if your ancestors wouldn't have had that, imagine like your hunter-gatherer ancestors, like cavemen and women, chilling in the cave, whatever, making robe, like doing whatever cavemen are doing, and then, your buddy walks in and is like, whoa, the bear is attacking the village, we need to go. If then you're like, yeah, it's cool, bro, I don't want to breathe wrong. Like, I don't want to be one of your hyperventilating, mouth breathing, chest breathing weirdos like you. Just go be anxious, go be stressed. I'm just going to chill. If your ancestors did that, you wouldn't be around, right? That's what's called natural selection. So every single state that you have is there to provide a vital function for your survival, which means that every type of breathing that comes with that state is just a strategy for supplying the demand of that state that promotes survival, including anxiety, including stress, including sadness, including grief, including anger, including rage, including all of these different states. So, to conclude, is there a wrong way to breathe? No, there is not. Is there a wrong state? No, there is not. What we actually do have, a lot of times, is that we are stuck in a state that is an undesired state. We are in a state that we do not want to be in. And then that state is, of course, supported and sustained by the breath. So if you go through a phase of intense stress, of intense anxiety, and you've had a lot of high demands on your life, and you've had all this stress, and after a few months of that, the stressor disappears, whatever you reach your deadline, or your job clears up, or your relationship ends or changes, or whatever is causing you stress. The period of stress ends. Then we should also, of course, shift out of this stressful state and come to a different state that is more equipped to help us live the life that we want to live. Right? If there is a very intense situation, stress will help us live the life that we need to live in that moment. It will support us. It is there for us. It even gives us superpowers temporarily. However, if that situation is gone, we need to move to a different state that is more matched with what we want to do and with what we want to experience. So then we find a lot of people who are coming out of this state of stress, but they haven't changed their state. They're internally still experiencing this unwanted and this undesired state of being, like stress or anxiety. And that is when people start to suffer. And then you could say, well, right now, all you literally need to do is sit on the sofa and chill and be happy about life and be mindful and just be present. However, you are still breathing through your mouth. You're still breathing too fast, you're breathing 25 times per minute, and you're still using your neck and your chest to breathe. And then actually we have this mismatch where the state of breath, or the desired state that we want, doesn't match the state of breath anymore. So what we then need to do is adapt the state of breath to start supporting the state of being that we want to be in. And can you then call that wrong? Well, no, it's still just a sign. It's still just almost like a reading. I read somebody's breath. Somebody comes to me for breath coaching or for tips or whatever. And this is also what I teach my coaches. We look at the breath and we read the breath and you go like, you're breathing this way. And then people go, is it wrong? Is that wrong? Am I doing it? Is that bad? And we're like, well, no, it's not bad at all. Do you want to feel this way? And they go like, no, I don't want to feel this way at all. So it must be bad. Well, not really. You just don't want to feel this way. So then we also shouldn't breathe this way. So let's change our breathing for a different feeling. And then whenever you do want to feel this way, you can breathe like that again. And so this way we start to include every single breathing pattern into our practice and into our understanding that we can always shift to different states by shifting to different types of breathing. So I hope that answers the question for you, the question of, is there a wrong way to breathe? And I also hope that you can start to learn to catch yourself in the moment when your state of breathing doesn't match the state that you would like to be in. Now, if you enjoy this stuff, please subscribe to my YouTube channel where I'll be posting twice a week about concepts just like this. Also, feel free to ask me any question in the comments below or send me a message on Instagram @CaspersFocus. Thank you for joining, and I hope to see you very soon.